Hello everyone, welcome to part 5, the final part of the X playthrough of my Mega Man X4 LP. Now we are heading back to the final weapon and finally figure out who is controlling this weapon and aiming it towards Earth. I think we already know. If you don't know, well, I don't know what to tell you, to be honest with you. But like every Mega Man game ever existed, we have a boss rush. Yay. And they're everything that you already knew. So we're gonna cut this out. I am gonna come back in for the Magma Dragoon fight, show you that proper. But that is it, and I'll be back after all the boss fights. Hey everyone, this is the Magma Dragoon fight proper. This is a lot tougher battle without the mech. You still shouldn't have too much trouble with him, but he is definitely significantly harder. But if you use his weakness, he's a bitch, just like everyone else. But the only problem with that is he can be fast, and you have to get kind of close to him for this weapon. It's not ideal. But yeah, actually, with his special weakness, he's kind of a bitch. Boom. And that's the Magma Dragoon fight with his weakness. He's a bitch. Just like everyone else in this game with their weakness. Or most everyone else. Alright. Alright, all the Mavericks are dead. And we're about to go into our final battles. But first, before we go, I am going to show you what all the charge shots do. We've seen one with the charge slash beast, but we're going to show everything off. The charge web does that. That's kind of cool. The frost shield does this. I actually think that's a pretty cool move. The soul body releases another version of you, basically. That's kind of cool, but it doesn't last very long. This basically becomes an uppercut. This becomes that. The laser, which absolutely wrecked Storm Owl, just becomes that, and man, does that do a lot of damage. It does a lot of damage, and it's nice. And this becomes kind of like the Storm Tornado of the Mega Man X1. We've seen Slash Beast. It's that, and that is that. Nothing too crazy there. But now we're gonna head into the final area to find out who the mastermind of all this is. You already know who it is. I'm gonna say it now. It is Sigma. If you didn't know that, I don't know what to tell you. This is music. It really is, X. You're Sigma. My plan to keep Repliforce and the Maverick Hunters at each other's throats worked perfectly. Double did a good job as a spy. Why you? Repliforce are the fools this time. Now he wants to destroy Earth with the very weapon he made, which is weird because he wanted to conquer Earth, so I don't know if he's just going crazier and crazier, if that's the thing, but... So the Sigma fights are... Oh, by the way, you get free up and what refills with that, so that's cool. There is going to be 3 phases of this. First 2 are pretty easy. The last one is tedious. I wouldn't call it hard if you know what you're doing, but it's definitely tedious. To become space dust. Alright, so riding fire is this version's weakness, and oh man, so you're gonna get 2 hits off with this, and then you want to, then he does that, so 2 hits. He will appear right over top of you for 2 hits, and then he'll appear at the corner and go woo with his scythe on the ground. This is a very, very easy form of Sigma. You should not have trouble with that. Just use your riding fire, and you ain't gonna have much trouble. Alright, this form's weakness is gonna be the lightning web. He's gonna toss his his scythe in a half circle, his first attack, and then he's gonna throw into the water floor. Make sure it's the floor. Oh, that is why you want it on the wall, not on the floor. I took a little bit more damage than I wanted to there. You're gonna take some damage to him. It's not impossible. It's not difficult attacks, but you're gonna take some damage. But then the floor breaks, and now you're on part 3, which is actually 2. Oh man, look at that tasty energy. Which is actually gonna be 2 forms, including this big giant thing, which is always fun, always fun. This guy isn't too bad. He has 2 attacks, where he shoots lasers at you with a hanger, or does it at the end, which is a fast thing. It isn't too bad at all. But it's the one that's on the ground that's gonna and I'm gonna keep the. They both have different weaknesses. This one is soul body. The one that's on the ground is not. But I'm gonna keep the ground hunter out, and he switches. He does those 3 heads, and then he'll go into this form, and then he'll do 3 heads, and he'll go into the other form. So this is the end. The end's not great. I wish you wouldn't do the end, but remember, again, you have an unlimited damage base, unlimited weapon energy. Use it. The blue head and the red head are pretty easy to dodge. The yellow head is kind of difficult. His attack's kind of difficult. So he's at 2 the ends in a row. That's not ideal, but that's okay. He's giving me a pretty good pattern right now. You do have 2 sub-tanks. Remember that. You do have weapon tanks if you absolutely need it. Again, ground hunter does a lot of damage to him. Got kind of him right in the mouth, which is whatever, but now this is his other attack. He's gonna aim the laser right where you are. You got plenty of time to get out of the way. Just take your pot shots to him. If you want to use soul body here, you can. I think it's harder to hit, but honestly, just take some good shots with the plasma hit, and you're fine. And we're getting lucky without any yellow heads. Just kind of nice, honestly. Might use a sub tank here. A little bit. I don't need one right now though. So he's giving me two. He's giving me three the ends, but he's not giving me a yellow head, which is perfectly fine by me. Okay, that head is destroyed. Now I'm gonna. I don't think I'm gonna need it, honestly, but I am going to play it safe and use a sub tank. Because these aren't that bad. If he keeps doing the ends, now that head is destroyed, by the way. That bottom one, since I defeated his, and they have different health bars if you didn't notice. It's done. You don't have to worry about that guy. You're just gonna have this guy completely. And we want this pattern, ideally. You can do a lot of damage when he gives you that. If you destroy those heads, by the way, the attack ends. You don't need to, though. You can just... Oh, almost happened to you there. We never got a yellow. The yellow shoots electric sparks. It's not the easiest to dodge. It's not impossible. But it's not the easiest. But boom, shakalaka. He is dead. He is destroyed. He's down like a little bitch. He is. And now he's still laughing because ultimately he still thinks the weapon is aimed right at Earth, and he wins no matter what, even if he dies. But we know he doesn't die. He always comes back now, doesn't he? Goodbye, X. Alright. So now it's... You have control for a little bit here. It's not timed or anything. It's kind of a weird spot to have a relatively limited control. But you do. You come over here, and the general comes back, and he's gonna save the day. He's gonna save the day. And he's basically saying that many of his men have died. He needs to go with them. You know, king falls on their swords, type of stuff. He's using his body to destroy the weapon, and which makes sense, honestly. I mean, obviously X didn't want that. You know, because X is a pacifist by nature, but... Oh no, did X get out? Oh yeah, he got out. He got out with ease. And now we have our final little cutscene here, where X contemplates his fighting, shocker, contemplates him going Maverick, and all kinds of fun stuff. You know, poor X, man, he's been traumatized, you know, with betrayals, and you know, he does become a whiny little bitch as we go on further into the series, especially X7. Holy shit! But there's a bit of an understanding with that, and there's Zero. This is not the dumbest line in this game by any, but this is kind of a dumb line. That's a bad delivered line, but that line actually is a bit of a prelude to the Zero series. If you played the Zero series, you kind of know what I'm talking about. Now, granted, you know, if you know the lore, you know X5 was supposed to be the last one, and Capcom said, no, we want X6 and X7 and X8 without Inafune's input. So it kind of screwed up the story a little bit, because basically X was supposed to be the main bad guy in the original Mega Man Zero game. And then they went with Copy X, but that kind of prelude, kind of foreshadows Zero a little bit. It seems like a throwaway line, but actually, in my opinion, it's not. It's actually kind of an important line, even if the voice acting is not good. But nonetheless, hey, Bamboo. But that has been Mega Man X4 X's side. So half the playthrough is ultimately done. One of the biggest problems doing this type of LP with Zero is you're gonna see the same stages. It doesn't change. You're gonna see the same bosses, except for one. I mentioned Double. We've fought Double with Mega Man X. You do not fight or even interact at all with Double as Zero. You have Iris as your person instead of Double, and that creates a bit more of a dynamic. Zero's side will be more story heavy, a more interesting story. Not really a good one, but honestly, I think more it's because the voice acting makes it bad. But honestly, I don't think it's that bad. But talking about the X gameplay, I think Mega Man X4 with X is honestly pretty easy. I went through this in 5 parts, and I'm not even sure I died. And I probably did once, maybe. But I didn't even die getting in the spot that everyone dies, which is getting the arm upgrade. That was one shot. I got lucky there. But none of the bosses are hard, especially with their weakness. They are just stupidly easy with the weaknesses. And maybe you consider that a negative fault with Mega Man X, but you don't have to play that way. If you don't want to use the weaknesses, you can always fight with the Mega Buster and get the challenge that way. And that's one of the reasons why I like Mega Man, the series in general, but I like X more than the classic, is you can choose to do that. Now, the original Mega Man series, for the most part, you didn't really have that type of pattern resetting that you do in the X series a lot of time. Although I think maybe 1 or 2 games has that, if I'm not mistaken. You can correct me on that. I haven't played a lot of this classic series, so I don't know it that well. But honestly, Mega Man X4, and even with Zero, which I think is slightly harder, although it's more what I enjoy doing. I love playing as Zero. You're going to see him a lot in 5 and 6. The problem with 5 is you might not see him as much in 5 because of the stupid RNG factor of the story, and that sucks. But yeah, so the X side's done. Honestly, I think Mega Man X4. This is what I'm trying to say. I apologize for the split sentences there. I'm not just keeping my thought. This is a beginner-friendly game. If you never played a Mega Man X game before, play this one first. Play this one first, then go back to the regular one, X1, 2, and 3. I think it's one of my favorite games of all time. I go back and forth between which one I like more, X4 or X1. If you like X1 more, I completely understand. There's not an argument there for me. Both are awesome. But these games are fun. I love them to death. I love Mega Man X4 to death. I could play it all the time, but again, that also tells you a little more, kind of talking about what we were talking about before the Zero series. You know, it's a prelude to that. They knew what they were going to do from there, and there you go. All right, folks, that will do it for our X finale, part 5 here. I have been Zunker. We will jump into the Zero series next, or the Zero side next. Thank you for joining me. Until next time, everybody.